Leiden, the Netherlands, February 28, 2007. As Professor Stanford predicted, Dr. Liebenstein had refused Professor Stanford's requests to continue to be the first reader of her PhD and to provide her with the scholarly help she needed to continue and be successful in the academic world. Jane and her daughters arrived at the English department, and Jane saw on the attendance board that Dr. Liebenstein, or rather Professor Liebenstein, was in. Lisa and Danielle knew exactly what to do and obediently walked over to the couch in Professor Liebenstein's office and sat on the edge, back straight and upright, ready to listen attentively. Jane took the chair which stood opposite Professor Liebenstein's desk. "Good afternoon, Professor Liebenstein." "Good afternoon, Miss Hooper." "You know why I'm here." "Yes, I do." "Well then, you know what my next question is." He sat silently, and she saw instantly that the liveliness in his blue eyes dissipated. Jane waited an extra few seconds and then sprung the question on him. "Why?" He waited and then answered. "It took me 18 years to get where I wanted to be. There can only be one at a time. There can only be one Elliot and 1 pound." "Only 1 Elliot and 1 pound. I see." "In the final chapter of my dissertation," Jane said, "I discuss how Pound was able to shape Eliot's poetry through his editing. The poem in the manuscript of The Wasteland is so different from what was finally published that it is essentially a separate poem entirely. No one can escape the roots that clutch. But Eliot needed Pound to eliminate the inheritance from his predecessors. The Wasteland would not have been The Wasteland without Pound's edits." Professor Liebenstein's crystal blue eyes welled up with tears of love. He was silent after she finished speaking, but finally he asked, his voice cracking, "Is it final yet?" "What, my dissertation or my divorce?" "Both." "Both are nearly final. Who was your first reader?" "That is up to Professor Stanford." "Who took you to Louvain?" Professor Liebenstein responded angrily and looked away. "Why should I stay here?" Jane asked softly. "This place sort of reminds me of Salem. You know, the same place where Eliot's ancestors hung witches for their own game." He looked at her, panicking. "Where will you go?" "That's a good question. Wherever I want. The world is a big place." "Time to go, girls." Jane turned towards the door and opened it. Neither Jane nor her daughters looked back as they turned the corner to take their first steps downstairs.